Hi, I'm here to just casually talk to you guys about something, and that's something that I guess is just a little bit hard-hitting. You're not going to be able to see what's on the screen at all. It's whatever. It's the movie Clerks on VHS. You'll find out why that's significant. But I'm here to talk about the fact that I, right now, have to part with a project that I'm deeply in love with, and it feels like the equivalent of sending a kid off to college. Like, the fact that I officially have to be done with this project is a legitimately emotional thing to move on from, which to some people that might sound absolutely crazy. But what I'm parting with was my capstone project for high school. For me, well, it's 3 years I spent studying film and new media at Interlochen Arts Academy. And I spent the entirety of my senior year working on it. But, I mean, it goes a little bit deeper than that. The ideas had been there since before then. So I worked on some stuff that was building up to that for a while. First of all, the project that you can check out in the link in the description, oldwestdurham.weebly.com. It is really fucking cool. I should actually start by telling you what a capstone even is at the school I went to. Where, for people who studied film and new media, because, I went to an art high school. People who studied film and new media, if you by your senior year had been there for 3 or more years, you can make a capstone that year. And a capstone is, you study some specific subject, and by the end of the year, you make some sort of project out of it. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be one film. Traditionally, the route is to make a film that is between 20 and 30 minutes. I just got a text about my project. I'll look at it later. But I took a slightly different route. My original aim was I wanted to study world building. But then I wanted to build a world, or more like a setting, and write a bunch of scripts that took place in said setting. And then also, I was thinking I'd turn at least one of them into a film. And I knew this is something I kind of wanted to do since the end of my junior year. So knowing I should be kind of prepared, I spent a little bit of time getting ready for that capstone, the summer going into senior year. And all I knew I had to do was research. So I started researching. I'd take notes I'd read stuff about world building. I would just take notes about world building on even just everything I watched or consumed, just to get as much as possible out of it. And then when it came down to the school year, I had to do a lot of the same thing. Look for sources about world building, eventually start reading books. But then I also watched a few film series, one of which was Kevin Smith's View Askewniverse, an interconnected series of comedy films that I had already seen. Here's one of them, and I'm wearing another one of them. There's like 8 of them total in the main timeline. There's many more. Although, yeah, that's a film series I had already seen, but I had to do a paper on that as advised by my Yoda, who was basically just my mentor for the project, but we call him Yodas. The person who runs the film department loves Star Wars. He's a great guy. All the faculty members there, great people. And then I had to watch a series of films I had not yet seen called The Decalogue by, is his name Krzysztof Kieslowski, or something Kieslowski. But yeah, it was, that's a series of 10 films that are dramatic, they follow characters who all live in the same apartment building, so those are all interconnected. But then from there, I had to start building the world. I took notes on everything about the world. I had to ask basic questions, what's the history of it? I had to ask specific questions, what are the fucking curfew laws like, and all types of other stuff. How does the school district work? How many schools are there? What type of people are there? What's the average income of a person who lives there? I don't like this hand thing I'm doing. But then from there, I had to plan out the scripts that I wanted to write. I had originally planned as many as, 11, 10 or something. And then I just kind of started doing that. And it should be noted that the first thing I wrote was something I was intentionally writing to be filmable with the resources that I had available. It was like a 10-page script, very dialogue-driven in one location type of thing. And that's going to come back later. But then I spent the next while writing scripts, receiving feedback from my Yoda, and writing more scripts, really. And I was just the whole time, I was in love with this project and the setting that I had created. Because, I don't know, I could get into the setting so easily because it was familiar territory. For context, it all takes place in a sort of middle of nowhere small town. It's based on my own experience growing up in a very boring middle of nowhere small town where not much went on. But it's sort of a love letter to that, and it showcases some of the things that are enjoyable, or at least makes the mundane entertaining. And that's cool, man. It's really cool. Specifically, it was a town called Old West Durham, which I will admit here is the first time I'm publicly admitting this. I fully stole the name from a real town in Durham, North Carolina, because the fictional place is also a suburb of Durham. It is a real place. I never admitted to that. That might be plagiarism or just laziness or both. I apologize to all of the residents of the real life Old West Durham. And also to people who are actually from North Carolina. I never lived in North Carolina. I'm not speaking from experience. I'm totally guessing on that. But I'm not really sorry. I don't care that much. But I guess I'm kind of sorry if you actually give a shit. No one gives a shit. So yeah, man, I was deeply in love with this project, and I'm not trying to make it a sexual thing. But damn, man, I loved it. You know, every day, so many days I'd mentally live in Old West Durham. I just think, what am I doing right now? I'd be sitting in, like, I don't know, one of the film classes I was thinking, I'd be like, right now, if I were a guy in Old West Durham, I'd be sitting in a super subpar academic class in the middle of this, in the middle of their public high school called Riverside High School. Although what was perhaps the most, such a treat and what felt like such an immersion into Old West Durham is after I had started this project, I went home, because it's a boarding school in a different state than I lived in, that I went to. I went home for winter break. Back home to the very town that I'd lived in practically my whole life, like literally since age 1. The exact town that Old West Durham was based on. My Old West Durham, not the real one. You're not really going to hear another mention of the real one throughout this whole video. So, anyway, and we're just going to, should I just like, and this is a little bit more comfortable. We'll go through a different few weird positions while I do this. We'll see what happens. That was especially cool because I went there knowing that for the project to have some B-roll footage just in case it needed to go to use. I wanted to try and film everything when I was home, so maybe I could make a little teaser video out of it or something. And that's kind of what I was doing. I was filming all this stuff back in my hometown, and it felt, I don't know, I was really getting in touch with the core of that project and what it meant, and also what my hometown meant for me. Because I was having an absolute ball embracing that I was in this middle of nowhere place with all these hilarious friends of mine that I loved. And still do love. Shout out to any of my hometown friends if you're watching. Fucking, man, my laptop's going to sleep. Fucking love you guys. No way, dude. Where was I, man? I just got some really funny texts about my project website. That made me really happy. Yeah, I was able to really get in touch with, I don't know, my love for my hometown and feel like I was immersed in my own project by being in the town that I based it on, by being in my own home. And I think I had so much fun being back home, and I embraced it, and I loved hanging out with my friends. And there's something very, it just felt nostalgic. I mean, a combination of it being Christmas time and that warm, comfy, family feel, I don't even know if it's a good way to describe it, of that season mixed with me being in such a familiar, comfortable place because I lived there for, again, all but 1 year of my life. The first year. One of my friends is real. Seems to be flattered by the way I described a character based on him. My buddy, Brady, shout out to Brady. He's the basis for the character Mike, and I fucking love Brady, man. That guy's a good guy. But one thing I did think of is, I'm not just going to get B-roll to put some music over for a teaser. No. I'm going to do this thing where I can make these full-fledged films. The idea was that I was going to shoot a bunch of footage of me hanging out with my friends. I hung out with them when I snuck into the public high school that I went to for freshman year, and hung out with them while they ate lunch and while they had free periods because I got on winter break before they did. I filmed myself going to the job that I used to work seasonally, and I filmed myself hosting a party at my house with all my friends to kind of celebrate being back in town and to celebrate the holidays. And originally, here was the plan. So one thing I gotta bring up is the connective character throughout all the scripts and films. The Jay and Silent Bob of my thing, if any of you guys get that reference. This guy named Joel Hickey. He's a very strange, sort of offbeat guy who's a filmmaker, but he makes a lot of amateur films that are kind of just obsessed with being violent and grossing the audience the hell out. And he's a strange guy. And I was picturing him, hey man, like fucking death and blood chainsaws and shit. He's this weird offbeat. He talks like he's fucking out of it, or on drugs or something. And I was like, if I make these films, I can't have them be in the series unless Joel is in them, because Joel is in all these things. But I don't have an actor for Joel yet, because it's not like we'd shot anything. And I was like, so I guess that means I would have to play Joel director cameo? But that would also mean that me filming what is a bunch of real interactions to later disguise as a mockumentary, I would have to spend the whole time going, hey man, okay, so I got a funny fucking video of a guy getting choked to death, and there are videos at the beginning of me doing that where I do that goofy voice or I do that wide-eyed look, because I still think I'm gonna have to stick to me playing Joel. But eventually I kind of gave up on that. I knew it couldn't happen. And then I remembered something. I gave myself an excuse to not have Joel appear directly in the video. Since they're supposed to be mockumentaries, all of these fake opening credit sequences where Joel is credited as editor. People might say that shouldn't make the cut of being the series, because, well, that's not, how do you know that's fucking blah, blah, blah. That's not Joel making a real appearance, that's a total cop-out. But I'm gonna give myself a pass, because in the original outline document I made, I had a plan to make a pilot for a Nathan For You style show called The Devil's Advocate, about the son of Satan going around asking people why they do bad things. It's a complex idea. And I was going to count it as being part of the series just because Joel would be credited as director of photography in the beginning. And so I'm like, if that can be in it, these can be in it too. Joel's going to be credited as editor in all three of them. So I think after the first few days of being home, I dropped the act, That's why if you go to the website and check out some of the sections of both the film and the deleted scenes of the film finals, which was like kind of the first day I saw my friends after I got back, there are very few moments that were left in the deleted scenes and left in the film where I'm kind of doing the thing of going, hell yeah, man. And you can tell it's a fake voice, but without me saying this, you probably couldn't tell I was playing a character entirely. Once I had the footage, the editing started pretty soon after. But I do it, whenever I had the time. I kind of had a lot to edit, so it would proceed to take a long amount of time. Then, all the small things. I saw Blink-182 live the other night. It's fucking fantastic. So the next step in the project, besides continuing to write more scripts when I got back, because obviously I wrote a shit ton of those, wound up being 7 in total, not counting the one that got turned into a film. One got turned into a film, yes it did, let me tell you about it. God, that was fucking awesome. When second semester started, pretty soon after, I was like, I'm gonna try and start the pre-production for this film I wanted to make, which was the first script I wrote. I've mentioned it, it's like 10-ish pages, dialogue heavy, although to be fair, all my stuff is dialogue heavy. One location. So I tried to get that together. The original plan was to really raw dog it. I knew that the other Capstone productions were, their fucking main project was making a film, and their film was longer, and they were filming more time. So I kind of felt like I didn't want to steal valuable resources from other people. So I was gonna go really bare bones crew, and it probably would have turned out worse if I didn't. I think I was gonna have no lighting person or gaffer for those who work in the industry who know that terminology. I was bringing on a cinematographer pretty last minute. I mean, when we finally had dates, I kind of hadn't jack shit planned, and then I realized we had to push it back about a month. But I spent some time shot listing, then eventually kind of had to re-shot list when we got some new ideas. I edited the script a bit, and I actually got a concrete crew. I had an assistant director who was definitely good at keeping me on task, or at least making sure I remember to get my shit done. A director of photography and assistant camera, the camera crew, who were true visionaries and super committed. They were super into this. We did this thing where we decided to make it, the majority of it appear as if it's one take, Birdman style. I was really happy we were all into that, because man, did those guys pull it off. Again, like I said, at some point we had to push the dates back a month, so I got together the rest of a crew. I kind of already assembled most of the actors, I think. Got as many rehearsals in as we can, and then we shot it in like an 8 or 9 hour day. Because it was a one take, there were a lot of hidden cuts, so not actual one take, but still a lot of long takes. We had to do, I think the most we had to do one take was like 12, Which honestly, compared to some movies, that's probably small numbers. I mean, compared to like David Fincher, fucking Stanley Kubrick type shit. And we managed to knock that out, and my assistant camera guy, who's Andy, who runs this website called Lightbox. Go check out Lightbox. It's fucking awesome. He wanted to get right into editing the next day. He was like, before I even started, he was like, hey, can I edit it? And I was like, yes, hell yeah. Like, someone who's certainly better at editing and color grading than I am, you're totally welcome to if you want to. But I helped him out. I sat in with him while he did it, and we also wound up making the decision to make the film in black and white, which was mostly due to the fact that some of our lighting didn't look perfect or had some continuity issues between hidden cuts or the one visible cut in the film. I mean, we got out a first cut, which is which wound up being very similar to the final cut, within like a day after filming, which I felt very, very proud of. And so from there, after all the continuing to write and working on that every now and then, it came down to, by April or so, when I knew within the next month I was going to have to do a live presentation to this, I started to really get the stuff together. How am I going to make a presentation? I wanted to have some actors read parts of scripts aloud. I wanted to present this film that we produced on campus. And yeah, I wanted to do that. So I started working on that, and I also started working on putting up the website that you can check it out in the description below, brother. All the small things. That concert made me like Blink-182 quite a bit more. They're funny guys. They're really funny guys. Anyway, yeah, so I started putting together the pieces of this website. And I also, it's funny, so I needed, or I guess I chose to do, this big end credit sequence for the live presentation. It was showing the credits for the mockumentary films, even though we didn't even show those live. The film we produced on campus, the names of the people who read it live, and then a big thank you list, which is something I stole from one of my idols, Kevin Smith. He loves to do this list of the director would like to thank. And then also plug the website, which I did fucking too many times throughout this video. And yeah, that was a real culmination of it all. And then I proceeded to spend, I don't know, what's maybe now been 2 months or close to 2 months fine-tuning the website. But now what? I am officially calling the website done, because it is. There's not really much more I can add or proofread about the entire thing. It's tough, man. I spent from, I don't know, beginning of June, shortly after I got back from boarding school, to, I don't know, like today, adding stuff to the extra features section of the website and making sure everything was ready to go. Even though I'd already publicly published it, because I knew I was going to promote it at the presentation, I was still fine-tuning it to sort of officially announce the completion. I went out of my way to edit a teaser for the website that I posted on Instagram now, soon to be on YouTube. It's probably already on YouTube. And now I have to lay it to rest. And I can't keep giving myself excuses to go back. Stop hitting myself. Can't keep giving myself excuses to go back to it, I am so attached to this because it almost, to me, it represents all of, my entire adolescence, or at least the parts that I spent in my hometown. So excluding those last 3 years of high school I spent at boarding school, pretty much my entire childhood and this distinctive memories I have growing up in this place. And despite how boring that town might have seemed for most of my childhood, the love and appreciation I have now developed for it, it embodies all of that. And in some weird, fucking hella symbolic way, I have to move on from this project in a similar way that I have to move on from my hometown. And that was a lesson I was learning a few months earlier. I've now moved to my parents and I should say, have now moved to a state that's quite far away from where I grew up, and also is in a super urban area, super different from the sort of isolated feel of the town I grew up in. And that was something I had to come to terms with. It wasn't until the end of winter break, this super fun sort of getting into this project, the break where I got all this footage. At the end of that break, I have a video of me talking about, I'm leaving this place soon and I don't even know how to feel about it. and the move happening in the summer or at the end of the summer or whatever, it's a lot to process. The idea that, I think it's for the best that I will be able to move on from being in this house and sort of always, in some senses, always having to come back here, even if I do still like it. You got to move on from pretty much everything at some point. Really, the last time I had to ever embody being back was my spring break, which, I also spent that time getting footage and really trying to just get into being there and trying to have all my final goodbyes, because, I gotta move on from this town the same way I gotta move on from this project. If I want life to continue and I want to continue on the path that I've always dreamed of going on, which is hopefully live in LA one day and go to college, and I used to dream of USC, but that hasn't really panned out. Go to college in somewhere outside of my hometown, then, I'm going to have to leave behind the same way I'll have to leave the project behind. If I want to continue to grow as an artist, I need to say, I love this project. This project is my child. And the child's going off to college just like I'm gonna next year, so empty nester. But not empty. I have more projects to fill that shit with. This is such a good fucking movie, man. I love Clerks. And one thing that makes it so, again, symbolically fitting about me having to move on from my hometown somewhere after this project is, the thing is, I try to make the whole theme of the project about the sort of ignorance and unawareness that comes with growing up in a place that is so isolated from the rest of the world, is like kind of a bubble. To spoiler territory, if you give a shit about this thing that I made up, and you should, skip to this timestamp if you don't want the spoiler. It does end with the character of Joel Hickey, the Jan Silent Bob of the series. It ends with him finally getting out of his hometown, and it ends implying there are great things ahead of him, and there is so much life to live ahead of him, and there is so much of the world he hasn't seen yet. And that was kind of me. I had that moment, man. I had that moment when I took one last scenic drive through just all the important landmarks on that last night before I left at the end of spring break. I just listened to all this emotional, sentimental music. You know how it is. We got The Spins by Mac Miller. We got Can't Hardly Wait by The Replacements. I think I did that one, although that feels more anticipatory. We got Boys Don't Cry by The Cure, obviously, and even We Three by Soul Asylum, because it reminds me of the end of Chasing Amy, another Kevin Smith View Askew Universe movie. I had that moment of being like, it's really time to part with this place. Just like it was time for me to part with that project. Now here's the thing. Does me ending this project officially, this series that I made in my senior year of high school, does me having to say goodbye to this, does that mean I'm never going to touch this fictional town or these characters or this fictional world ever again? Oh fuck no, dude. Of course I'm most likely going to come back to this stuff. Dude, this is, come on, man. I think I got a lot of world to build on here, and I'm talking, it could be unrelated stuff within Old West Durham, it could be stuff outside of Old West Durham, and you could argue this goes against what I say. I just said I have to lay it to rest. Here is the thing, I don't agree with that entirely, because, I can make I'm already working on a new script where it's about Joel Hickey. And I've had other ideas of totally new characters that are going to be films in Old West Durham. But the thing here is, with those things, I was told by a friend of mine once, very wise friend of mine, the Smoke Room, love that guy, that, as an artist, you should be searching for a way to challenge yourself in everything that you do. So even in those pieces, I need to search for challenges. That can't be all of what I do. I have to be willing to expand into fully unfamiliar territory or do new things, I've been trying to doing a lot of documentary, sort of guerrilla style documentary stuff. I will just film what's happening, and without commenting on it, without really trying not to fake anything, I will just film parts of my life, and I want to edit it into some sort of documentary one day. Or right now, I'm working on a feature-length sci-fi script where I'm trying my best to make it so it's like not intentionally funny. So those are two things that are kind of out of my comfort zone. It's not trying to be a comedy, which I do a lot, and it's also in a genre that's totally unfamiliar to me. But with that being said, yeah, you got to expand. But I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with returning to parts, at least, of your previous style, or doing something because it's fun, or doing something because you were a fan of your own work, and maybe you feel like you owe it to yourself to say, what are these characters that I'm still kind of in love with up to 10 years later? I think that's fair to treat yourself to that as an artist. You got to keep in that frame of mind, it can't be the only thing you do. Try out different shit, bro. And I mean, I'm way into the idea of even if it has nothing to do, like even the sci-fi thing. I'm interested in saying that it takes place in the universe next to the universe that Old West Derm is in. So I'm somehow going to have an implication to that. Because for a bit now, I've been interested in having some real subtle ways to a bunch of the scripts I've written taking place in the same world. And some of that comes from the fact that I was hugely inspired by Kevin Smith's View Universe series, movies like Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Because, I had seen how big multiverses, or those big blockbuster franchises had gotten, if we're talking MCU, DCU, or DCEU. I'd seen people do the cinematic universe thing, but I don't think I had seen someone make interconnected films with such like little bits of lore spread across each film in like simple dialogue-driven comedy films, Like, if that were the case with like all of the Judd Apatow movies, and I noticed that when I watched all those back in like middle school or whatever, I think I would have been flipping my shit. But I didn't flip my shit until I watched these Kevin Smith movies in high school. And I also think it's beyond seeing someone do a comedic cinematic universe that had a huge impact on my writing style. It made me discover even more my love for like slice of life films and mundane dialogue-driven films. And made me realize that a movie can be entertaining, still driven off dialogue. Even sometimes, in this case, comedic dialogue, which I love. That's why I loved writing so many of these dialogue-heavy scripts. I think I realized I have a real love for doing that. I like taking things that are mundane in life and making them entertaining, or at least I've found I've managed to make that very enjoyable for me. And I think maybe the reason I like that so much is it feels like the way I write dialogue and the stories that I write is very much a way to express my own life, and to some extent you could say make just a little bit of sense of it. I mean, like I said, it's the journey of one of the characters literally paralleled my own life so directly in a way that was felt so subconscious. And it feels like it's an expression of my life. I mean, you have these characters who live in a boring middle of nowhere place, and like I do, they like to talk a lot. And they experience similar bullshit problems, man. And they have similar dynamics with their friends, and they love to just bullshit about movies and pop culture, art that they love. And I think there's really something special to that, to be able to reflect my own life and present it in an entertaining way, in a way that makes so much sense to me and will hopefully make the way I see the world understandable to others. I mean, at this point, at this point, it's probably getting a little bit pretentious, and I feel like that's probably every artist who doesn't know what to say in an interview has said this ever, so let's just move on. Also, one reason I'm especially attached to this, or why I think this world that I've built is going to last for a long time, something I forgot to bring up. This has existed since before I even thought of this capstone project. I mentioned that I thought of this capstone project at the end of junior year before it officially started. No, yeah, this idea has been around for a bit. And the earliest example I can think of is sometime in my sophomore year of high school, which was, and let's stop there and say that year, winter break was when I watched Clerks. And I don't want to get too sidetracked, so I will mention that after. But my first time watching Clerks, that's another great story. Shortly after watching Clerks, I think I got inspired by it, and I kept having this idea for a film in my head, or moments in a film. And I just knew I wanted it to be a buddy comedy. I think maybe it was going to be called Haymakers, since I thought that was such a badass title. Not for any particular reason. That title didn't have anything to do with what happened in the movie. But it had two characters who followed the super, super basic sort of wacky comedic relief and straight man routine. You could say it's the main characters from Clerks and a lot of Kevin Smith's other movies. It is the Jonah Hill and Michael Cera from Superbad type dynamic, that sort of thing. And all I knew is that I wanted one of them, the loud and obnoxious one, to be named Jaywalker. And just remember that was very important because that really planted a seed. So, and then in my junior year when I was taking a film improv class, where one part of it is that we had to create our own characters, what started is I wrote Jaywalker's friend, who I knew we needed to have a straight man, a partner in crime. And that wound up being the character of Rickman, who Jay and Rickman are two of my favorite characters I've ever made. But I'd proceed to build on that world. I'd have multiple characters that they knew. I had this greasy-ass dude who sold babies named Monty, who always wore wife beaters. I don't really know why that's still an acceptable thing to say. I'm not really sure. I got named Pistol Randy. He's kind of an emo, but boy, does he love pistols. I got named Sebastian Parker, who I credited I think a bit later on, who's just a master of conning people. He seems very charismatic, but truly he has some very bad intentions. He's a scammer, con artist. These characters were all very important. They were the building. You know, I think just because I loved Kevin Smith's universe so much, I was just kind of like, I want to do that. I want a bunch of this shit that I make to take place in the same world and have the same characters. So I did that. I wrote down. I had a lot of different ideas for scripts that I write that took place in this world. But perhaps one of my proudest accomplishments, which is still one of my favorite things that I made, is I wrote a feature-length script called Haymakers. It features those characters of Jay and Rickman, and it was the basic plot of two guys on a road trip, but they don't know where to, and it's shown out of order in a Pulp Fiction style way, and it sometimes will just randomly jump back in time to them being in high school or a year ago or something like that. I'm still incredibly proud of that script. I like it a lot. And that's that. I mean, those characters and that Haymakers is an idea I would continue with. You know, I'd write the pilot for Haymakers, the television series, for this capstone project, and I still want to make that a series, and I'm still have the outline document on my phone, and I still haven't finished outlining it because that show could go for infinite fucking seasons. It's a pretty good idea. Someone should pick that show up. Let me pitch it. But I believe it or not, later that year, it was like, because it was end of first semester, and it was for an assignment in class where I wrote Haymakers. It was for a class focusing on film genres, and I spent the semester studying the buddy movie. And so as my final project where I had to do something creatively inspired by the genre I studied, I just wrote a fucking 90-page script. That's just a flex. I said that in a braggy, obnoxious way, I do gotta say. Do you guys know the name of that song? I'm gonna post this somewhere online. I'm gonna post it on my Instagram story. What's the name of the song? I swear I saw it in like a show or movie or maybe a YouTube video. It goes, okay, end of first semester, I wrote Haymakers feature-length script. The next semester, I'd get so into this idea of building my own cinematic universe that I always forget to mention this to people, but that's where I started Old West Durham. I got a notebook just to write down details of, okay, what is the town these characters live in? What the fuck is the school district like? Does the majority of the town lean conservative or liberal? Are they fucking racist? Just a bunch of that basic information. That honestly helped a lot. That might sound like I was cheating on the project a bit, helped set the groundwork for it, but trust me, in senior year I did plenty of hard work. Ever since I first watched Clerks, I've always been so in love with Kevin Smith's Views universe that I kinda already talked about the importance of it to me. I'm gonna have to go on another ramble about it. Fucking Clerks. Fuck, I just kicked Return of the Jedi. The DVD is the first Clerks is at the top. Alright, Clerks. People are blowing up my fucking phone. It started in my sophomore year, it was so winter break. So there's after I'd spent my first semester studying film at a new boarding school. And it had been great so far. I went to visit my aunt and uncle. It was my mom's younger brother, and I fucking love those people. Great people. And it was we celebrate my birthday, and I think it was the night that we went out to dinner to celebrate my birthday. Fucking awesome steakhouse. My uncle and I were the last ones awake. We were just sitting there, and he's like, "Well, should we watch them?" I think I said we should watch Hot Fuzz. I would still consider that the greatest comedy movie ever made. And then he says something about Clerks, and he's like, "Yeah, do you know Kevin Smith? Because I feel like he could really inspire you." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I know about him, right? Yeah, I know a little bit about him." And he goes, "Okay." He's scrolling through the Kevin Smith movies, and he goes, "So you haven't seen Mallrats?" I say, "Yeah, no, I haven't." He goes, "But you've seen Clerks?" I say, "No." And he goes, "What the hell, man?" And so we found it on Pluto TV. It's a shitty free streaming service, but we found it. And we watched it, man. Clerks. I already showed you the disc in this 3-movie collection box. But Clerks. DVD and VHS. And dude, it's one of those things where I remember the night that we watched it so vividly because I proceeded to watch it and I was just into it, man. I think I never, I'd seen some of the very mundane dialogue-focused stuff done really well in a lot of Richard Linklater movies, and he was another really big inspiration to me. Still is. But I had never seen, first of all, a notable thing about this movie, he pulled it off on an insanely impressively low budget, like $27,000 in the 90s. So, which is why, that's literally, it appears low budget too. It was so low budget, he obviously had to make it black and white. I don't think I'd ever seen someone manage to make a mundane narrative so entertaining and make crude, sometimes lowbrow humor seem so clever, and also work in such natural and realistic sounding conversations about pop culture or other pointless bullshit that I could picture my friends and I actually talking about. It felt so true to life, and it was funny, and it was entertaining, and I loved it. And I said that, and I was like, yeah, this is a great movie. And I rewatched it soon after. And I knew that I wanted to keep going down the rabbit hole, and I kind of heard from my uncle that there's kind of a cinematic universe where these characters called Jay and Silent Bob are in a bunch of the films. I had to watch the movie he made after, called Mallrats, which I own on VHS. With the air that's in my mind and in my soul. Do you guys like CKY? That's not what I meant to click. The film that came next within the Views universe, although technically it is canonically the film that came after Clerks, because Mallrats takes place the day before Clerks. Chasing Amy. I watched pretty shortly after I watched Mallrats, because as much as I didn't click with Mallrats on first watch, I wanted to keep giving the Views universe a try, because I knew something was still in it for me. I didn't mess with it much of the time, and I don't entirely mess with it now. I proceeded to watch Dogma, which I actually, instead of pirating it, I waited until I could get it on DVD, which was cool because that was a rare find on DVD. I remember thinking that it could have been the best Views universe movie I'd seen up to that point. It's definitely a relatively close second to Clerks. Definitely in second place any day. Could be. I've had times where I've said it's first place, but fuck no, dude. No. I watched Clerks, the animated series, baby. Which, it's a funny show, and I thought so too at the time. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, baby. Next I'd watch Clerks 2. You can see that Clerks 2 is in 2 discs right here. I also owned a separate DVD, the older DVD of Clerks 2. Clerks 2. Watch Jay and Silent Bob reboot is fucking blech. I was gonna wait to do some dramatic reel, but Clerks 3, was a movie I knew was happening since that same summer. So I've been waiting to watch it, and I spent all my time at boarding school reading a bunch of articles. But even when I knew it came out, I kind of avoided watching it because I wanted to wait until I got this Blu-ray, which I wound up getting for Christmas, until I could truly watch it on a good TV, and I could watch it on... I don't know why I waited all the way until I got it on Blu-ray. And to be honest, they had TVs at my boarding school. I don't know why I didn't use one of those. I guess I wanted to wait till the perfect moment, and what felt like the perfect moment was when I spent a day on my winter break shortly after I got this for Christmas, grabbing a slice of Whole Foods pizza and some snacks, and sitting in my basement to watch this beginning to end, with my phone totally out of the room. And it honestly, I do remember having a really good time watching this. This isn't even a good movie, and I don't even particularly like it as a guilty pleasure. But as a piece of fan service, as someone who is a super deep cut fan of this shit, yeah, man, yeah. There is no way I'm gonna leave this in the video, because now I've gone through my entire Viewisk Universe collection like a fucking idiot. So as I sit here, I'm gonna say goodbye. Goodbye to the Old West Durham Capstone Project. And thank you. Thank you for making me be able to have this realization about moving on from my hometown. Thank you for being able to have a way for me to finally show my love and appreciation for the place that I grew up, and especially the people I grew up with and my many friends that I love. So much love to the people who I grew up with in that small town. I love all you guys. Thank you, Old West Durham. Thank you, me, because I fucking made this thing, and thank you for clicking the link in the description and checking it out, because it is a pretty fucking awesome project. So, I want to see you guys whenever I upload next. I don't know what it's going to be. It might be a new film. It might be, I'm thinking of doing a review video soon. I'm thinking of making a big review video of what I call the Jackass Extended Universe, because I'm currently kind of in a rabbit hole of watching all that stuff now. But first, I'm going to have to finish watching it. And I'm pretty early into it. I'm still watching Wild Boys. And any true Jackass fan knows there's a long way to go after Wild Boys. So, we'll see what happens. I might be at school in college by the time I record that video, because not very long until I'm going off to college. But yeah, thank you, Old West Durham. I love this project. I love you. I love me. Let's team up to kill Barney. And yeah, man. I'm resisting ending this video because I don't want to move on. But you know what? Fuck it. I'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye, 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 goodbye.